Every morning, birds enter your yard and make dozens of tiny decisions. Where to land, where to feed, when to leave, and perhaps the most important decision of all, whether they can trust you. Most people assume trust happens when a bird finally lets them get close. But according to what scientists have learned about bird behavior, that moment comes much later than most people realize. Because long before a bird trusts a human, it watches them, quietly, patiently, sometimes for days, sometimes for weeks. Imagine a small chickadee sitting on a branch above your feeder. To you, it's just another bird passing through. But from the bird's perspective, you're a giant unknown creature. You move unpredictably. You make sudden sounds. You can change the entire environment with a single step. In the wild, making the wrong judgment about a potential threat can be deadly. That's why birds rarely trust first. They observe first. What makes this fascinating is that birds aren't simply watching for danger. Many of them appear to be collecting information. They notice patterns. They remember routines. Some species can even recognize individual human faces. But before any bird decides you're safe, it looks for something specific. A hidden signal. A clue that helps answer one question: can this human be trusted? And the surprising part is that most people unknowingly reveal the answer every single day, without speaking, without interacting, without even realizing they're being watched. The first test birds use is surprisingly simple, yet almost nobody knows they're taking it. The first test birds use isn't strength, intelligence, or kindness. It's consistency. To humans, that might sound surprisingly simple, but in the natural world, consistency can mean the difference between safety and danger. Think about it from a bird's perspective. Every day, countless things around them change. Predators appear without warning. Weather shifts suddenly. Food sources disappear. Survival depends on recognizing patterns as quickly as possible. That's why birds pay close attention to routine. They notice where you walk. They notice what time you appear. They notice how you move through your yard. And most importantly, they notice whether your behavior stays the same. Imagine two homeowners. The first person walks outside every morning with a cup of coffee, follows the same path, waters the plants, and quietly returns inside. The second person appears randomly, moves quickly, changes direction without warning, and occasionally rushes toward the feeder to get a closer look at the birds. Which person would seem safer? For a bird, the answer is obvious. Predictable behavior creates confidence. Unpredictable behavior creates uncertainty, and uncertainty often feels dangerous. Researchers have found that many bird species become comfortable with repeated, non-threatening patterns. Over time, they learn which movements signal danger and which ones don't. This doesn't mean birds fully trust a person after a few days. Far from it. The consistency test is only the beginning. Passing it simply allows a bird to move on to the next stage of evaluation. Because once a bird decides your routine is predictable, it starts paying attention to something much more personal. Not where you go, not what you do, but how you react when it is nearby. And that second test may be even more important than the first. Once a bird becomes familiar with your routine, something interesting happens. It starts watching your reactions. This is the second hidden test. And unlike the first one, it's much more personal. Imagine a bird landing near your feeder. At first, it stays at a safe distance. It watches, it waits. Then, little by little, it moves closer. Not because it suddenly feels brave, but because it's gathering information. The bird wants to know what happens when it enters your space. Do you immediately walk toward it? Do you make sudden movements? Do you stare directly at it? Or do you simply continue what you're doing? To many bird species, reactions matter more than presence. A human standing nearby isn't automatically dangerous. A human who suddenly changes behavior can be. That's why birds often seem comfortable around some people while avoiding others, even in the same neighborhood. They're not just judging who you are, they're judging how you respond to them. Researchers who study wild birds have observed that many species carefully monitor human behavior during repeated encounters. Over time, birds learn which people consistently respect their distance and which ones create stress. The remarkable part is that birds don't need many experiences to start forming these impressions. A few positive encounters can build confidence. A few negative ones can erase it. And once a bird begins associating your presence with calm, predictable reactions, something changes. Its escape distance becomes shorter. It spends more time feeding. It becomes less alert when you're nearby. From the outside, it looks like trust. But the bird isn't finished testing you yet, because there is one final question every bird must answer before real trust can begin. Not whether you're predictable, not whether you're calm, but whether you're truly safe when it becomes vulnerable. For a bird, there are few moments more dangerous than when it lets its guard down. Eating, drinking, bathing, caring for young. These are the moments when predators are most likely to strike. And because of that, birds become extremely cautious about where and when they do them. This leads to the final hidden test, the vulnerability test. A bird may tolerate your presence. It may even recognize your face. But true trust begins when it feels safe enough to be vulnerable around you. Have you ever noticed a bird taking its time at a feeder instead of grabbing a seed and flying away? Or seen birds bathing in a bird bath while you're still nearby? Those small behaviors reveal something important. The bird is no longer focused entirely on escaping. It's beginning to believe that your presence does not equal danger. For some species, the strongest sign of trust comes when they repeatedly return with other birds or even their young. In a bird's world, safety is valuable information. If one bird discovers a place where it can relax, feed, and remain alert without constant fear, others may eventually follow. And that's the surprising truth. Birds don't trust humans because they're friendly. They trust humans because, over time, those humans consistently prove they are safe. And that trust is earned one small observation at a time. The next time you see a bird in your yard, take a closer look. Not at what the bird is doing, but at how it behaves around you. If it lands a little closer than before, stays a little longer, or seems less alarmed by your presence, you may be witnessing the result of weeks or even months of quiet observation. Because while many people believe they are the ones watching birds, the truth is often the opposite. Birds have been watching us all along. They've been tracking our routines, learning our habits, measuring our reactions, and deciding whether we belong in the category of danger or safety. What's remarkable is that this process happens without words, without training, and without any agreement between species. It's simply the result of countless small interactions repeated over time. The hidden test birds use before trusting humans isn't really a single test at all. It's a series of questions. Are you predictable? Are you calm? Are you safe when they're vulnerable? Every day, birds quietly gather the answers. And when the answers remain the same, something extraordinary happens. Trust begins to grow. So if a bird keeps returning to your yard, it may not just be coming back for food. It may be returning because, in its own way, it has already made a decision about you. And that decision is one of the greatest compliments a wild animal can give.